Hey guys, how's it going? Comparing here. So today I want to talk about what I'll be doing in Diablo 3 in the near future, and what I've really enjoyed out of the beta so far. So I played Diablo 3 yesterday. I tried to make a Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor seemed cool. I had these gloves that give 100% bonus attack speed to pets, and I was told by the people that Crushing Blow gets transferred to your pets. So if you can make them attack twice as fast, magnify number of crushing blows. Oh my god, the synergy, it's too much. So I started leveling one up. I didn't really want to get power leveled by someone else. I thought it'd be fun to roll a new character because, hey, when I played my original Crusader, I found it pretty fun just going through all the content again. But this time, instead of doing through the campaign first, I wanted to do the leveling through the Rift and through the bounty system, which is pretty much just like you get into it right at level 1 and you're practically doing daily quests to level, and you're doing like semi-randomly generated rifts. So that's about it there. And through this process I was getting really bored. I don't know what it is. It's probably the fact that, you know, I play a lot of grindy games, and ones that don't have a super in-depth system behind the combat, behind the builds, all that, really kind of get to me, man. Like, I was farming Diablo 3 pretty hardcore for about a week, and I was enjoying it, and I'll tell you guys which parts I really enjoyed. But after about a week, man, it's like the wall hit me. I just couldn't stand farming it. You know, last night I was just so bored, like epically bored, leveling my Witch Doctor. And honestly, until they release more content on the beta servers for Diablo 3, I probably won't be playing it much. The content that is there, you know, I've reviewed it, I've had some thoughts about it. Overall, I think it will apply very well to people who are enjoying Diablo 3, so you guys, you know, have some good things to look forward to. But all in all, it's a lot of the same, and I didn't really I didn't really have the desire to play it again after last night. But there is some really cool stuff in Diablo 3, and I want to talk to you guys about that. I want to talk to you guys about what, you know, kept me going in the 1 week of turbo farming, and what's good about the game, because it's important to really highlight these things so that, you know, people can look forward to them, and people who are designing the game can kind of understand what they're doing right. So this is probably not intended, but there are some really overpowered items in Diablo 3 that are legendaries, and one of them, probably the most overpowered one, has actually not been nerfed, and they are the Shrine Gloves. You get the Shrine Gloves as a reward from Act 2 and 4 of the bounties. You don't just get it for funsies. You have to get lucky to get it. I've gotten 2 of these, and I've done a lot of bounties, but, you know, 2 of them, it's possible. You'll get it eventually, hopefully. What they do is they make the shrine effects last for 1 hour. And what this does is it allows you to do bounties and stack up all these shrines. And then when you're pretty much done doing bounties, if you do the bounties of like 2 different acts, and there are like the daily deals of 2 different acts on bounties where you get double the rewards, after you do that, at that point on your character, you probably have all of the shrines, if not all of them, you know, all minus 1 or 2. Sometimes you don't get so lucky. And with all the shrine buffs lasting pretty much, you know, between 50 minutes and an hour, at that point, what I started to do is I started to farm rifts. And I did this because farming rifts is worth it if you can kill the goblins, and if you can recognize some of the, you know, high density mobs, the high loot mobs, the high XP mobs. So rifts are not all randomly generated. You know, there are some random components to them, but there is the map parameter, there is the mob parameter, and the mob parameter tends to have like a grouping in some cases. So what I mean by this is, yes, there is a random number of levels between 1 and 10 when you spawn a rift, and hopefully by the time that the levels end, you've killed enough monsters to spawn the boss. And if you kill the boss, you can respawn a rift in that game. If you go through all the levels, you hit the end, and you haven't spawned the boss, you're gonna have to go back and do it if you want to keep your shrines, because you can't put in another map if there is a map that has not been completed yet in that game. And if you don't have the Shrine Glove, you're not doing any of that crazy stuff, then it's no big deal. But the idea was to power through the levels. You know, don't kill too many monsters on the levels that suck, but kill a lot of the monsters on the levels that are good. And this is, a concept that I, started realizing in Path of Exile some time ago, where the mob density would be consistent throughout the zone, and this seems to be an aspect of the rifts as well. So what I mean by this is, if the first group of monsters you encounter has like 2 monsters, then that zone probably sucks. And as you go through the zone, you see more and more packs, you get a better understanding of the average mob density in that map. Because the mobs are randomly generated, because the maps are randomly generated, kind of, you can combine these two if you have enough experience doing rifts, and you can realize where there is true potential. There are some maps, there is in fact a 1-level map in Diablo 3 right now, where it's a rift, but it only has 1 level, but it's huge. And if you do get that level, it usually has very good mob density. And if the mob type is very good, clearing the level, is insane experience, is insane loot. The thing is, when you have a lot of monsters grouped together, it also amplifies the shrines that are available within these maps. And the shrines in the rifts are much more powerful than those outside the rifts. The shrine gloves, they don't affect those in the rifts, but the ones in the rifts are magnified if there's like a crap load of monsters around them, because often they will allow you to kill monsters very quickly. Alright, so that's the backstory on the rifts. If you do enough of them, you'll recognize when there is high density, you recognize when the high density matches up with a really good map, and you'll clear it. And clearing these type of scenarios and these type of rifts will generate an incredible amount of experience and items drop. Like, for instance, I believe I've had, a one level within a rift drop, probably close to a dozen legendaries, for instance. While others, you'd be lucky to get 1. So that's the scale of things that we're talking about. So what I did was, I did all the bounties, got all the buffs, and I started doing the rifts. And I would speed through them until I saw some crazy mob density, or until I saw some goblins, and I'd stay there, and I'd full clear that zone, or clear every goblin that I could. And it set up the situation where you're on a time trial. And the reason you're on a time trial is because without the shrines, doing the rifts kind of sucks. You can't really do them as fast as a crusader, you can't really move through them as fast with the horse. And the scenario it's set up is like a very fast pace, a very intense gameplay that was very rewarding, but it was natural within the game. So the game was set up this way, and you could take advantage of the fact that these items are overpowered, that the mechanics work this way, and you could gain a lot out of it. But you had to play very well, you had to understand how it works, you had to recognize the mechanics of the maps, and you had to be very, very focused. It's a situation where, if you play super intense, if you play twice as efficiently, you're going to get, 3 or 4 times more loot. And those scaling scenarios, for a player like me, make it very fun. And yes, I use the bug beam for a lot of this stuff, but even so, even after they nerfed the bug beam, I did a few runs and it was still quite fun. It's just that, for me, just farming items endlessly, didn't really seem to go anywhere. I didn't really feel that motivated to try new builds. I didn't really, get too involved into the next step, just because, builds in Diablo 3 really don't seem all that complex to me. But I want to really highlight this, and I want to, show you guys that even though the game may seem simple, the design may not seem very evolved from the current version, there are scenarios that can be set up that can make the game really cool. And I hope that Blizzard takes this and recognizes the fact that outside of a few of these, there's really not much revolutionary stuff that's different. They're going to have a lot of trouble bringing players who are not currently Diablo 3 players into the game, and they really have to push it in this sense and in others to really have, you know, market dominance on the RPG scene again. So hope you guys agree. Hope you guys enjoy my you know, my little ramblings of my farmings in Diablo 3. But the fun is important, and it's a good thing to recognize it. So hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.